Well, it's week 18 of the golfing calendar, and we're live from the Australian Golf Centre, home of Golf Australia and the PGA of Australia. And we're here thanks to Watch My Numbers, the most powerful database golf app in the world. It's an absolute cracker. You can download it from the App Store or Google Play. And the team at Ping. They will help you play your best, just like they have with Nick O'Hearn for his whole career. See your local golf shop or professional to arrange a Ping Club fitting. And thanks to the Golf Clearance Outlet, they beat everyone's prices. You can drop in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane and Perth, or online at golfclearanceoutlet.com.au. Okay, let's go. This is the most listened to Australian golf podcast, Talk Birdie to Me. And now, here's Nick and Mark. By the way, Mark, as I look across the desk, not looking too happy. I think we might need to find out what he's grumpy about. Mark, what's the deal?
There's no way Cape Wickham is the number one course in Australia.
No?
No.
Okay.
No.
I can't say because I've never been there.
Oh, it's a very, very good golf course.
Is it?
Yes,
Okay.
it's a wonderful place to go and have a look and to get a real feel for seaside golf.
Weather dependent, I assume?
Yes,
Okay.
very much. And see, I think that should be in the rankings. Now, if you don't understand what we're talking about, Royal Melbourne West has been bumped off the number one perch. Was it by Golf Australia in their rankings? I think it was.
Was it like
Golf Digest?
Golf magazine?
Digest or magazine or something? Yeah.
I'll look it up.
Okay.
But it actually doesn't matter because those rankings now don't count for anything if they've got Cape Wickham in front of Royal Melbourne. Now, with all those courses down in Tassie, this is just my personal view. There's got to be a little function in the criteria that says, is it playable every day of your lifeable for the rest of your timeable?
There's a lot of new words.
How'd you like that?
Lifeable
Well,
and
mate, you've
timeable.
just basically given us a word salad there. But
Right. Well, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Sure.
Because you can't play Barnbougle. I wouldn't like to play Barnbougle every day for the rest of my life.
I haven't played that either.
I wouldn't like to play the King Island golf courses every day for the rest of my life because it just gets too windy down there. It's just it's not playable.
Okay.
So there is, again, I'll say it one more time, change those rankings immediately. Otherwise, every bit of credibility that you've built up over the years flies out the window. End of story.
I don't know they're going to change them, Mark.
Well, that's to their detriment.
Okay.
Were you on those judging panels years ago?
Yes, I was. I was asked to go on one,
Okay.
and I lasted 2 months
Really?
because they gave me the list of courses to judge, and I judged the ones that I'd played in recent memory.
Yep.
But there were some well-known courses that I hadn't played for 20 years, and I called the fella in charge, and I said, hey, listen, I haven't played some of these courses for 20 years. He goes, it doesn't matter. Just judge it on how you can remember them.
Really?
And I hung up the phone and I had to think about it. I told somebody the next day and they laughed at me. And I called him about a week later and said, hey, listen, I'm out. I don't want to be part of this nonsense.
I would have thought to judge them, you'd have to make special trips
Yes.
to each golf course.
That's right.
That's a lot of golf courses to visit, obviously.
That's right. That's why the world rankings usually don't come out, what is it, every 2 years, every 3 years? Because they want the judges to get around to these joints and check them out. All of them.
Okay.
All of them. So that's why I reckon also in Australia, for instance, just the top 50. Because you can't get to 100 golf courses.
True.
Just the top 50. So if you do the top 50, and that's thereabouts every 2 years, you do the top 100 over 5 years.
Yep.
Just do it that way. You'll get your credibility back. But at the moment, with Cape Wickham at number one, even though it's fantastic, even though it's worth a trip, even though it'll knock your socks off, it's not the best golf course in Australia.
Well, I'll have to look at the list because we played Metropolitan the other day as well.
Yes.
So, and what were your thoughts on that?
Well, it was brand new. They've just opened up some new course. So my thoughts are...
They've sort of redone the front 9 greens, haven't they?
I'll talk about it this time next year, and we'll make another trip back with Frank from Watch My Numbers, who hosted us and paid for lunch and beat us both.
Well,
by the way,
he was my partner.
Yeah.
I'm saying that we beat you.
Well,
you and Aidan Dodoni. Although you guys...
I had 33 points or something, didn't I? Or 30 points or whatever.
I had 30, I know that.
Okay,
So
well, I
it
must have
wasn't a
33.
great day, but that's okay. But I will tell you this.
What do you think of Metro?
I've always had a soft spot for Metro, but it's not where... it's not in peak condition because of they've redone the front 9 greens.
Yep.
They still haven't renovated 12 or 13, which
That's
I
right.
believe they're going to do. So I'm waiting to see how that pans
Yes,
out. The
they're
one
going-
thing I will say is they have the best rakes in Australia.
Yes, they do.
I went in more than my fair share of bunkers,
I
and
noticed.
they are the easiest bunkers to rake because of the rake. I don't know what brand it is, but every golf club should have them.
Augusta have got them.
Oh, really?
They are exactly the same.
Okay.
So I'm a toss-up. Now, rakes, you've got me going here because I think they're very, very important.
Very important.
One thing, if you're a golf club and you've got garden rakes in your bunkers, then shame on you. Shame on you for doing that to your members. There are two types of rakes that work the best. The ones at Metro and Augusta, which is the green handle and the black. It's kind of an oval-shaped head.
It's like it's got balanced weighting or something.
Yes.
It's like a putter that has face balance.
That's
because
right.
this thing just rakes itself.
And you can push or pull with ease, which is
Yes.
fabulous, and you smooth out the bunker. You actually want to rake bunkers. And the other ones are the beautiful wooden ones that they have at Royal Melbourne and Cypress Point.
Ooh.
They are magnificent.
Okay.
I give the ones at Royal the edge just because, and I'll tell you why, because of the colouring. And see, you don't have to leave the rake in the bunker. If you leave the right colouring rake, which is a wooden one, in the tongue, then you can barely see the rake. And it makes the golf course look so much better.
I feel like we've gone down a rabbit hole here,
Yeah,
Mark, of
sorry.
rakes
Oh, I
and bunkers on
apologise.
golf courses.
I apologise.
I think we're about professional golf, aren't we?
Yes, yeah, we are.
Anyway,
we
Why
are.
don't we have a bonus pod on rakes at some point?
Yeah.
I think we should.
We should actually.
I think we should.
Sponsored by Bunnings.
If you're a golf course out there buying your rakes at Bunnings,
I know.
There's issues.
in fact, if you're a member at a golf course that buys their rakes at Bunnings, get in contact with us and we'll serve it right up to them. That's what we'll do here at Talk Birdie to Me. Well done to the Rippers.
Yes,
They had a big win.
they did.
And I think Cameron Smith said it's a dream come true. So when I was practicing as a kid, I thought the dream coming true would have been, the Australian Open or the winning an Open Championship at St Andrews or Augusta. But look, we all know he got swept up at the moment,
He
and the
did.
crowds were unbelievable. And good on him for winning because it made it quite enormous here in this country. The amount of interest was easy to see. It still didn't grab me, It's not the way I want to play golf. And I can report this to you both and to you, listener. There are some major winners that are playing LIV at the moment that will hand back their license, their LIV license, after their term is up and they want to go back.
Really?
Yeah, that's according to
Okay.
one of the caddies who went across and had a word to some of the players and all the rest of it. Some major, so they've won majors.
How many sources do you have?
I've got
impressive.
Scotty Scheffler's brother-in-law, and I've got a few caddies that are. By the way, the caddies are the best source of information
They
for
know
you and
everything.
I
Yeah,
in the whole world of golf.
totally.
They've got it all. Anyway,
Totally.
there's a couple of caddies who went over, caught up with some of their mates who are working at LIV, and there are a whole host of major winners who are playing there who are going through the motions. Yeah,
Right.
they all say that LIV's the best. LIV Adelaide is the best one,
For sure.
and that is easy to see.
Yep.
That's so easy to see.
Well, I tried watching on TV, and I do say the word tried because I've never really watched much of it. So I thought, okay, this is the one that I'm going to watch, and I'm going to sit down.
Yeah.
And I got 15 minutes, and I think it was the background hum of the music combined with the scattered leaderboard, combined with the, I hate to say it, but some of the commentary. It just did not do it for me, and I found myself turning the volume down to begin with. Just because I didn't want to get that music, the boom, boom, the constant in the background. It's kind of driving me a little nuts. And then I started watching it, but I couldn't really figure out, in a way. I knew kind of what was going on, but I think I started watching on Saturday.
Yeah.
And, about 15 minutes was all I could do.
Yeah, I had a kid's game of footy to go to on Sunday afternoon, but some of the dads who were watching it, Brendan Steele winning it, didn't mean much. It was a teams event.
It was.
Yeah,
for sure.
Here it became a teams event because of the Australian Ripper team who won, and apparently all the Ripper merchandise sold out early on Saturday morning.
Really?
Yeah, early on Saturday morning. So a lot of people doing it. But look, that's you and I are old people who have grown up with golf, and we like golf the other way. By the way, I don't care if you loved it. That's fantastic if you loved it.
Look, we've always said there is a place for it.
Yep.
Absolutely. And if it brings people into the game that normally don't get to watch golf, and from what I saw on the TV, it looked that way. I was a little saddened by, what was it, Nick Pugh, I think, on the Saturday, where he got
knocked on the head,
beamed by a water bottle on the par 3 where Lucas Herbert held a 6-footer. I mean,
that's happened at other golf tournaments as
well.
Yeah,
that was a bit disappointing. And then I heard I saw or heard in the playoff on social media, Dean Burmester trying to hit a shot and someone yelling in the backswing. But with that many people, you're going to get that sort of stuff. And he did tell the crowd where to go.
That was the second playoff hole, right?
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Might have been the first playoff hole.
Actually, no, I think it was the second because he pitched it in the back bunker, didn't he? That's right. And that's when they kind of come unstuck.
Yeah. That's when the crowd was going ballistic. Look, so that's you and I. But Dan, you had a good look at it, didn't you? You had a good look at the golf. What do you think?
Look, I found it a bit difficult to watch too, but I'm a bit more of a traditionalist in the same way that I prefer Test cricket to 2020 and one-day cricket. But I think from a devil's advocate point of view, and I reckon this is a reasonably fair point, which is one you made a moment ago, we're all blokes in our 50s, right?
Yep.
So you can make an argument potentially that the LIV brand is not targeting dudes in their 50s.
No, it's not.
They're targeting people under 40, under 35, a new generation who for whom they're really used to that whole noisy party atmosphere. And if you look at it from that point of view, well, it does a great job.
Yeah.
It's not my personal cup of tea, but I can appreciate that it does a wonderful job for what it is.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
So the word is, again, from these caddies, is that they're quite certain that if they play out their term and put the hand up for invitations, because most of them, these major winners, their majors exemption will have run out except for the tournament or tournaments that they've won.
Yes.
And I'll give you one name, Brooks Koepka.
Yep.
Brooks Koepka wants to go back.
He does?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll give you that one.
Right.
And Bubba Watson.
Bubba, yeah. I'd be interesting to...
Bubba Watson wants to go back.
Pings Bubba Watson.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
It would be fascinating to have a side conversation with John Rahm at the moment.
Yes.
I wonder what he thinks about what he signed up for, and maybe he loves it. I don't know.
It didn't look like it.
Yeah, he's an intense fellow, and whether he's getting the competition he wants, I assume he is.
Yeah.
The bank balance is obviously healthier for it, and he was trying to bring the two sides together. That seems to be further apart than ever at the moment, but it would be an interesting conversation or a fly on the wall if you get a few of them in a room.
Yep. DJ's the other one. I have to say.
Just keep naming them.
Sorry.
Well, none of the three of us were there, but I'll tell you who was there. It was Sam from the Golf Clearance Outlet, so we might maybe give him a call later
give him a call later.
Oh, great.
We'll give him a yell later on, and we'll see what his report was. He was there.
Yeah, he got to play with Bryson DeChambeau. Got to play 9 holes with him.
Incredible.
Yeah, well,
good on him.
I was there last year. I was doing the radio, and I thought it was a fascinating event while I was on site. To watch it on the TV, I didn't quite get into it like I did on site. So I completely understand that. I don't know, they have close to 100,000 people over 3 days for the tournament. That is massive numbers here.
Huge. 94,000 went through the gates for the 3 days.
Yeah, and from what I saw on social media, the playoff was out of control.
Yes,
numbers wise. I mean, people everywhere.
The way it should be too. By the way, By the way, and the concerts afterwards, just.
Plenty of shoeys, I imagine.
Lots of shoeys. The concert was pumping. Cameron Smith got into the spirit of things not only at the concert, but he turned up the casino later that night as well. He got a standing ovation when he walked into the casino. He walked onto the main floor of the Adelaide Casino and got a round of applause, a standing ovation. So there's lots of good stuff. And like you said, if it brings younger people into the game and they've got an interest, and driving ranges are full up because of it, and other people are buying clubs, and people who are curious about golf might go out and have a hit, then well done.
Yep.
Side note,
everybody.
Side note, in the right scenario, would you guys do a shoey?
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Okay, that's my...
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
No, particularly out of someone else's shoe, which was happening a lot.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Shoe was being thrown from one side of the party hole to the other, and whoever caught it was encouraged to to do a shoey, and if they weren't, they were booed.
Bloody hard, because if you say no in that moment, the crowd are going to turn on you.
Yeah,
mate, sure.
true.
They just throw it back in the other direction.
Yeah.
I'm not doing a shoey.
No.
Can you do a fake one where you tip it down the side or something?
Anyway, well done to Brendan Steele. 3 wins on the PGA Tour, and I think it's his first win. Is it his first win? Maybe his second, I don't know. And well done the Rippers. But we got a new number one in golf,
Mm.
and her name is Hannah Green. She has bounced Minjee Lee from the top billing in Australian golf after her win at the Wilshire Country Club, which kind of looked like it needed a little bit of a tart-up, to tell you the truth. It needed to be fixed up a little bit. Did you watch the tournament at all?
I saw a couple of the highlights early on. I know Grace Kim was firing on all cylinders first 2 days. She shot 64, 66. She took a 4-shot lead into the weekend, and unfortunately, and that's the thing about how the game of golf goes. You can shoot 64, 66, and then on the weekend she shoots 76, 77. So it's fascinating how it can turn on its own head for her. So it was disappointing for her, but for Hannah, an amazing win because she won here last year, so she defended. She said she found a little cafe which she loved for the week called the Great White, I believe. Having bacon and egg sandwiches every morning, a bit of special sauce on the side, which was fantastic. And it was just a phenomenal performance. And I think this golf course reminds her of playing in Australia. The Poana greens, the gum trees around, that sort of thing. And outstanding win. And as you said, she becomes she's overtaken Minjee Lee.
I think she's
as far
over
as
7 or 8, and Minjee's gone down to 9 or something, or maybe she got bounced out of the top 10.
Yeah, maybe. I think
she's missed 2 cuts in a row, Minjee Lee.
Yeah, it's a strange one for her. But Hannah becomes the 5th woman to win 5 tournaments on the LPGA with Kari Webb, Jan Stevenson, Minjee, obviously, and Rachel Hetherington. So she becomes the 5th 5-time winner. Awesome result.
I was racing through it before we met up today, and she chipped in on the 12th on the last day.
It started her run, didn't it?
And she chipped in. I think that got her 3 or 4 in front, and she still had 2 par 5s to come.
Ooh.
And she birdied one and eagled the other. So the chip in just sealed the deal with 2 par 5s in her back pocket on the way in. So she just absolutely smashed it. And, the way she swung the golf club, her graph is going in one direction, and that is up.
Yeah, but last week it was surprising miscut for her at the Chevron, and obviously just water off a duck's back, went to a golf course she loves, and thank you very much.
Yeah, well, look, I try to explain the graph, and the graph never goes in a dead straight line, but over time, you just see the graph, it goes up and down, up and down, up and down, but her graph is going up and then up, and that's why she's found herself in the top 10 players in the world all of a sudden, which is fabulous.
We had a great chat with your friend Hannah Gregg on Monday this week, and if you haven't listened to that pod, it's a bonus pod, worth going back having a listen to. It's very, very good. But one of the things that Hannah Gregg mentioned was whenever Hannah Green wins, she gets messaged. I wonder if she got some messages from the Hannah Gregg.
I'm sure she would, actually. Yeah, it is a tricky one, actually. When you see them side by side, it almost looks like the same name. So I'm sure I'll have to reach out to Hannah and find that one out. It was a great story she told about the snake, though. That was brilliant.
Oh. Hey, and now on the PGA Tour, they had a teams event. It didn't grab me.
No, yeah. Well,
not really. I'm glad the 2 Irish guys won, and I think that in team events they should always be countries playing together. 2 Aussies, 2 Irishmen, Americans playing with each other, 2 Mexicans, 2 whatever.
I think so too.
But I think that is of interest when you see an Irish team or an Australian team or whatever it is. So I think that should be a must for this particular tournament.
Yeah, well, it was like the Ripper win. You had the Aussies playing against the South Africans.
It was great.
It was like the Wallabies and the Springboks almost, wasn't it?
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
you'd love to see it in that format. And I heard Rory was singing karaoke afterwards, so it was a bit of a live party vibe afterwards.
Can we play that down? I bet you can find it. You can play that for us, can't you?
Yeah, we'll see if we can do that. Hang on. Hang on, here it is.
I reckon he sounded pretty good.
Not bad. Maybe the
didn't
high
mind
notes. I think the crowd was helping him out a little bit there. But
Yes.
the other thing I think that I saw on the socials was they were presented the belts because you get winners' belts at this tournament.
Yeah, it's nice.
And Shane Lowry was trying to get it on. He going, it's a little bit snug. Yeah, it was a little tight for him, but it was a great win. I've played that golf course, TPC New Orleans. It's not the greatest golf course in the world. I have a feeling David Toms might have done some redesign work on it. But they have these funny little hooks, these bunkers that come out in the fairway. It's the strangest bunkering I have seen, fairway bunkers that I've ever seen.
Bunkers.
Yeah, they have these little hooks that come out into the fairway 5 yards, so you can catch this. Basically, if you miss the fairway by 2 yards, you are stuffed.
Right.
If you miss by 5 or 10 yards, well, then you're in the flat of the bunker and you get a nice fairway bunker shot, no problem at all.
Well, that's just silly.
Exactly. So I don't know if they've changed all that. The finishing holes are very interesting, 17 and 18. There was a massive alligator that always used to roam the 17.
I saw a picture of it.
He was still there?
It is the biggest.
It's huge.
He's as big as a rhinoceros, a big, long, rhinoceros-looking alligator.
Yeah, if you hit one down on that bank on the left of 17, you don't really want to put 1 foot in the water.
But they were kind of walking past him. You know, he must be too
Really?
old and slow because no
probably.
one seemed to care. You know, they were walking within 20 steps of him. I wouldn't go within 100 steps of him. But they were all just walking past like it was no big deal.
Yeah, okay.
You know what they need to do? They need to get Happy Gilmore onto that crocodile, that alligator, because Happy Gilmore takes him down.
Yeah.
Pulls the eye out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, didn't he bite off, what's his name's finger? Is that right?
He bought off. He bit off the hand.
The hand, sorry.
The hand, but then
Of
Happy
his
Gilmore.
coach.
Yeah, from his coach, and Happy Gilmore went and took the eye out, or something like that.
Hey, Rory McIlroy's played in the Masters and he played in Heritage and now he's played in this teams event as well. He looked tired. He looked real tired. Now, obviously,
time for a break.
Yeah, he needs a break. If you watch games of AFL and probably the NRL as well, I think the seasons are really long, and I want the best players in both those competitions to be around for a long, long time, and I want the best players to be playing golf for a long, long time. Would it be, Nick, because you have played over there and you understand much better than most people in this country, is there any weight in really shortening the US tour? I mean, if you were running, it'll never happen.
No.
I mean, and it is shortened a little bit at the moment, but I'm talking making it 30 weeks of the year and having basically 22 weeks off, but you'd have, President's Cup in there as well. And you give them an opportunity to play maybe 1 or 2 tournaments somewhere else around the world.
So the short answer to that is I sincerely doubt it. The reason being is going back, I don't know if it's still current, but PGA Tour, all the employees and the executives and the headquarters there, they were incentivized to provide playing opportunities for the players. So the more tournaments, opportunities they have for players, guess what? The more money they get.
That's right.
So I sincerely doubt it.
Right, pretty simple. What's the perfect amount of tournaments to play per year? I know Tiger's kind of in that 25 mode.
Oh, to play?
To play. When at his best, he played 25 in the States and then a few more around the world.
He played 20 at a maximum, I would say.
Well, there you go.
He played generally 16 or 17 on the PGA Tour, and then he played a couple of cash sort of events around the world.
Greg was kind of the same, except he played quite a bit down here when he was at his very best, filling his pockets, but that's okay. We loved it that he came and made our tournaments great. How many were you playing a year?
I was between, I would say, all up 25 to 30 weeks. That was kind of my thing. Early on, I was probably in the low 30s, and then the better I got, the more I wanted to conserve energy and play the bigger events, so you'd sort of ramp your schedule around those. I'd always come back to Australia, obviously, play the big ones down here whenever I could. So that sort of upped my tally. Most of the Americans, they were somewhere between 20 to 25, and I'd be up between 25 to 30. So,
What about, I know there's obviously...
But schedule-wise, you were taking how many tournaments? I don't know how many they have at the moment. It might be 44 or 42 weeks. I don't know.
You're in the ballpark.
Mid-30s, I think, would be ideal.
Okay. Would there be justification in saying, okay, you've got to play this amount of tournaments to have a membership? It used to be 13, I think. I don't know what it is now. It's probably 15 or 16.
Yeah, I think now it's 15 or 16.
And then also have a ceiling as well, to where you can only play 30.
Okay. Sung Jae Im wouldn't like that.
No, Sung Jae Im wouldn't like that. But what they would do even though there were less tournaments, if you had a ceiling of 30 that you were allowed to play in, then that would give others a chance to play in their 30 in a 40 tournament season.
True.
See what I'm sort of saying here? Just
I
to
see
make
what
it
you mean.
equitable. So
Yes.
if players weren't allowed to play 35 events on the PGA Tour, if there was a ceiling of just 30 weeks, I mean, that's 22 weeks off a year, and maybe we'd sneak them out of America a little more often. Look, I'm only thinking out loud. I'm trying to.
I hear you.
I'm trying to give the best players in the world, and the whole conversation started because Rory McIlroy looks really tired. He's probably played 4 tournaments in a row. Did he play the week before the Masters?
Yeah,
I
so
reckon he did.
he played Houston, I think.
Yeah.
He played the Masters. He had Hilton Head, which is a signature event, so he had to play. I was really surprised that he played this one.
Super surprised.
He's got a week off now. Then they've got another signature event in Charlotte.
Yep.
Then they'll have a week off, and then the PGA. So he's got 2 of the next 3 weeks off, so he'll be able to recharge. And I wouldn't feel too sorry for Rory.
I don't feel that sorry for him. I don't feel sorry for him, but I do want him. I want them all to be happy.
Yeah.
You know, I want them all to be happy playing the PGA Tour, and I want it to be a fabulous place to play again, and I want them all to, smile and not look tired when they're playing tournaments and do the right thing by sponsors and do all those things that make the world go round in professional golf, so they don't look like some of the LIV players who finished their rounds and didn't want to be where they were.
I saw Kevin Na implode on social media as well. That was a beauty.
Now, speaking of making people happy,
yes,
we got an email this week from Michael, listener Michael, TalkBirdie listener Michael, who wants some advice. And if you can solve his problem, he's specifically asking for your input on this, Mark.
Is he?
If you can solve his problem, I think you will make him very happy.
What was his problem? Can you remember?
I can, but I'd rather he tells you.
Okay.
Because it's his problem.
Okay, Doug. Well, a live lesson. I don't mind live lessons.
It's not my problem to share.
Okay.
So let's call Mike.
Righto. Live lesson on Talk Birdie to me. I love it.
Hello.
Hey, Michael. It's Mark Allen and Nick O'Hearn. How are you?
Hey, Mark. Hey, Nick. How are you?
Hey, mate. We are well.
Very well.
And this you're creating history today. We're doing the first ever Talk Birdie to me live lesson.
Oh, my God. Well, I'm pleased to be part of it. Should I go and get my golf clubs?
No, don't do that. Just tell us what the problem is.
Nice one. Look, the problem is, or the question is, how do you stop coming over the top? And I asked the question because when I was having a hit at Rich River on the weekend playing the comp, and I noticed I was pushing all my drives to the right, and my iron shots were usually of a lower trajectory, which was telling me I was de-lofting the club, and also my divot path was heading to the right as well. And the other thing that told me I was coming over the top was I was taking an extra club into most of the greens. So normally I'd hit a 7, I was hitting a 6, for example.
Now, Michael, you've said enough because Nick O'Hearn and I, we're both looking at each other and we know what's going on here. Now, I used to feel like when I was a kid, I used to come over the top of it.
He's a lefty, by the way.
Is he?
It sounds like it.
Are you a lefty?
You said you're hitting him to the right, coming over the top. Is that right?
No, I was pushing him to the right. I'm a righty. Yeah.
See,
yeah.
now this is perfect.
Okay.
So when I was a kid, I used to feel like the shots that went left, I came over the top.
Yep.
Until somebody put it on the video. And when it was put on the video, the feeling of over the top that you're getting is your hands flipping over because you're coming so far from the inside. And that's why your divots are going out to the right.
Yep. Okay.
So this is a very common thing when people are coming miles from the inside because the flip feels like you're coming over the top. And the more that you flip, the more it feels like you're coming over the top. And it becomes a situation where you're chasing your tail over and over and over. So what is the best thing to do here is I want you to feel like you're starting the ball left. I want you to set up square and start feeling like you're starting the ball left with a fade.
Right.
But you've got to put this on video so you can see for yourself that you're not actually coming over the top.
Yep.
And when you match up what it actually looks like versus what it feels like, you'll start to make progress.
That sounds great. So get out there, start aiming left, and trust the process.
Aim straight.
Yep.
But start the ball left.
All right.
Because your divot tells me that it's coming miles from the inside.
Yeah.
Miles and miles from the inside.
Beautiful. Well, thanks, Marco. That's awesome.
Hey, Michael, do us a favour. Send me a video of your swing, and then send me a video of your swing when you're trying to feel like it starts left.
All right, I'll do that.
All right, good on you. We'll check in. Thanks, Michael.
All the best.
See ya.
Do you ever come over it as a kid, or feel like you were coming over it?
Yeah. I did multiple things as a kid. I had no clue what was going on. So, yeah. But in the end, I figured out ball flight.
Yeah.
Ball flight determines everything. What your ball does, well, that indicates probably what's happening in the swing.
That's exactly right. There's only one science in golf, and that is ball flight. The other one, which is handy, is just where your divot's pointing. That gives you some idea, and we kind of had both of those. But like I said before, what you think you're doing and what you're actually doing can quite often be two totally different things.
Well, when he said he's hitting him to the right and his divot's to the right, and he said, I feel like I'm coming over, I thought, well, he must be a left-handed golfer.
That's right.
Because he'd be coming over the top, pulling it right.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, so he got me confused for a bit there.
Yeah, that's right. And when I was teaching at Albert Park, so many people came in, and I knew, because I was doing exactly the same thing when I was 13 or 14 years old. I just felt like I was coming over it. The more I felt like I was coming over it, the more I'd try and drop it on the inside, and you just go round and round and round, and you don't know what's going on in the end. You're scratching your head.
So you basically need to feel like Alex Noren.
That's exactly what he needs to do.
There you
Michael,
go.
if you're listening,
Yes.
Google Alex Noren golf swing, and hopefully you get what he's doing in his rehearsal as well.
Rehearsal, that's what you want to feel like. His golf swing's nothing like his rehearsal, but that's what he's feeling.
My brain's hurting after all that. I'll catch you on the 10th.
All right.
Thanks for listening to Talk Birdie to me, and if you're up for it, we'd love you to subscribe, rate and share the podcast wherever you listen. And thanks to our great partners who make the show possible, Ping, they'll help you play your best, Watch My Numbers, the most powerful database golf app in the world, and the Golf Clearance Outlet. They beat everyone's prices. Now, back to Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen.
On an unrelated note,
Yeah.
how good are party pies?
Yeah, they're very good.
I reckon they're better than normal pies.
The quality. Now, why? Is because you like pastry like I do. Because I think party pies are much better as well, especially golf course party pies.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Nick, you're not answering. You don't like them?
I just don't eat them.
Really?
Don't eat party pies, no. I've turned 50.
What the hell is wrong with you,
I'm
mate?
over 50. I've got to look after what I've got left of my body.
What about a pasty? You like pasties?
I could be tempted, but it's been years since I've had a pasty.
Yeah, I haven't had a pasty for 30 years.
Hang on. So what's the worst thing you would eat? What's the worst junky type thing you'd have?
Plenty of things. I mean, I have a bit of chocolate, ice cream, that sort of thing.
Hang on, you'll have ice cream and chocolate, but you won't have a little party pie.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. It's just something about it. Makes me feel off afterwards. Dark chocolate's good for you too.
Okay.
I was talking about major winners before when we were talking about LIV. So I've decided that my top 5 for the day is the top 5 players who never won a major.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, I got a good feeling who's going to be number 1, but you go right ahead.
Do you? Well, maybe I'll surprise you. Maybe I'll surprise you. I'm going to. I know this is kind of Nick O'Hoo sort of territory, but a couple of apologies to Robert Ellenby and Stuart Appleby. They were both good enough to win a major. Those two.
Yeah, Stewie came really close.
They were both bloody good players, and they just didn't win a major for Australia.
Well, Stewie lost in that playoff. The one Ernie Els won a 4-man playoff. It was Elkington, Els. It was Thomas LeVay, yes, and Stewie.
Yep. And did Ellenby get close? He didn't play well in majors, though, did he?
Not that I can remember.
Both Ellenby and Appleby were in the top 10 all-time money earners on the PGA Tour there at one stage.
I'm sure they were.
All time.
Yeah. Allenby was probably leading all the strokes gained. They didn't have that back then, but he was one of the all-time flushers as well.
Yep. Actually, we've got to get Steve Bann on. Steve Bann used to be Allenby's. Now, I agree
both of them.
That's right. He taught both of them.
Exactly.
So we've got to get Steve Bann on because he must have witnessed some of the most awesome flushing from Robert Ellenby in the history of ball flushing.
Well, I'm going to save my comment about that
Okay.
for whenever we do that bonus pod because there's some really good stuff.
Have you? Okay. All right. So stay tuned for Steve Bann. We'll get him at some stage. At number 5, your nemesis is in there.
Mine?
Your nemesis.
Okay.
Steve Stricker.
Oh, you son of a
So he always got close. He played a lot of good golf, and he's gone to the Champions Tour, and he's dominating. He was stiff, Steve Stricker.
I showed you the green at Metropolitan where
right.
he stiffed me. Hold a 30-footer to keep it going in the World Match Play, that son of a gun.
At number 4, a lot of the guys who I always had in there have won majors now. So, Sergio Garcia was always up there. But Ricky Fowler, I think he's good enough to win a major, and he hasn't. So he's in my number 4. At number 3, Lee Westwood. Remember his run? I think he finished in the top 3 in majors, like 4 majors in a row or something crazy like that. He got close, but no cigar for Lee Westwood.
Mm-hmm.
We saw him at LIV Adelaide. At number 2, he got to number 1 in the world, but never won a major. Luke Donald.
Oh, yes.
So if you get to number 1 in the world and don't win a major, I think you qualify for this list.
Yeah, he had a period there with his wedges and his putting, which was so far ahead of second, it was a joke because he was more on the shorter side, about average distance, but he took it to another level with the wedges and the putter.
Yeah, he wasn't bad in the bunkers, I guess. He wasn't too bad. And the number 1.
Well, here we go.
Mark's favourite player.
Well, look, normally I'm slagging this bloke off, but I've got to give him some credit. He was the most magnificent ball hitter from tee to green you have ever seen. He led the European Order of Merit 8 years in a row. That'll never be done again. His name is Colin Montgomery.
Ooh, jeez.
And he's the best ever player not to win a major, although he has won majors on the Champions Tour.
What do you think his best chance was?
Top
Top of your head.
Well, probably the one at Ogilvy, and the one where you finished top 10.
That's the one.
So that one, he what did he make double on the last?
Made double on the last, and he had to wait for his playing partner. I think it was Vijay Singh. And if he hit it straight away, it's set up for a little perfect 7-iron for him. And
was he in a divot?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, he should have won that one. Came close against the Elk, although the Elk had the masterful strategy of hitting to the centre of the green. When he won the PGA.
Riviera.
At what golf course? Riviera. I always forget the name Riviera.
Yep.
Any others? I think he was in another he was in a playoff with the boss of the Moss and Ernie Els.
US Open.
US Open.
Was that Congressional maybe?
Sounds
Trying
right.
to think. Yeah, it could have been Congressional back in the early 90s.
Yeah. Ernie Els won that one, didn't he?
Yes.
He was only a young man. Beat the boss of the Moss and Colin Montgomery. That was pretty good.
Mark, a question for you.
Yes.
I know none of us take joy in other people's misfortune. I know that's the
Not
case.
normally.
I also know that you think Monty is a massive arsehole.
Yes, that's true.
Are you pleased he never won a major? And be honest.
There is a corner of my soul that smiles every day.
Well, if
I wish him well. I wish him well.
If someone's listening and they're going, you know what, that top high's not bad, but I think you've missed an obvious one.
Yeah,
and you know
let
what?
me know.
Let us know on the socials. We want to know.
And you know what Monty would say to that, Mark?
You wouldn't care.
What? Eh? That's my Monty impersonation.
All right, now, the man who sponsors this program, thanks to Golf Clearance Outlet, his name is Sam Colosimo, and he got to play with Bryson DeChambeau last week. He was right in the middle
Incredible.
of LIV Adelaide, so let's get him on the phone.
Playing with Bryson for Sam would have been a pinch yourself moment, wouldn't
I
it?
wonder how far Bryson was hitting the past.
Yeah.
Sam's not a bad player.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, mate, I thought you were going to say Golf Clearance Outlet. This is Sam speaking.
How are you guys?
I saw the picture last week. You and Bryson together. I believe you played 9 holes of golf with him. What was it like?
I did. It's a funny story. We got a phone call on the way into the golf course, and we were meant to be playing with Taylor Gooch and Dean Burmester, and they mucked our tee time up. So they said, listen, we apologise for this, but if you can get here within 10 minutes, we want you to tee off with Bryson. Oh. And I said, oh, wow.
So, yeah, let me think about that.
Yeah. And we did. So they basically escorted us in to the Grange Golf Club, not through the public entry, through the private one, and put us on the tee. And we had 9 holes with Bryson and then 9 holes with the winner, Brendan Steele.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was fantastic. Bryson was just full of good energy, really positive guy, gave us a lot of time. And, I'm happy to say, probably not happy to say, hits the drive 100 metres past me.
100 metres.
Yeah.
Hey, did you have a look at his clubs? Because we were speaking about his clubs. He had to get them checked off by the USGA and the RNA before the Masters. And because his irons now have a bit of roll and a bit of bulge on them. Did you actually?
Yeah.
Did you have a look at them? What they look like?
We did. Well, they look well. So, and they're all the same length. His clubs. Yeah. So you kind of look at his bag and you see, I think he's got 10 irons or something in the bag, and they're all sitting the same length. They've all got that big grip on them. Yeah. And, I mean, and he hits them in such a robotic way, really high. So I noticed he hit the ball even higher than Brendan Steele.
Wow.
And, just so consistent. We didn't touch and feel them. I thought that might be stepping on toes. But, his whole bag is there's not a brand really that you would know.
Yeah.
So his putters, LA Golf, his driver and fairway woods are the brand Crank, and then the irons are his. So he's kind of breaking all the rules. And, we were so impressed with his just positive attitude. Like one of my staff was caddying and said to him, how good's Scotty Scheffler going at the moment? And his response was, well, that's not going to go for too long. I'm about to take the PGA. Like, he's just full of positive energy.
That's great, isn't it?
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Did you have any protein shakes with him around the course?
He was smashing down those protein bars. I think he was having about one a hole.
Oh, wow.
But the whole event, I mean, I'm sure you've spoken about it. It was just unbelievable for Australian golf.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, the buzz. I mean, you guys know about the buzz in Augusta. There was a genuine buzz in Adelaide last week. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. Massive crowds. I mean, how many, was it like 10, 20 deep around the fairways?
Yeah, it was super, super deep. I mean, I think it was 90,000 plus there for the 3 days. And, the whole organisation, LIV Golf staff, Grange Golf Club staff, it was one of those events that you just made feel welcome everywhere you went.
And Sam, I rate you as a judge of golf courses as well. So I haven't played the Grange for a long, long time, but gee, it looked so good on the telly. What do you think of it?
Yeah, it was super impressive. So the greens were really slick. Brendan Steele actually helped me a little bit on the greens with some tips that really helped. And the bunkers were immaculate. Like, if you couldn't get them out of those bunkers, you're going to struggle in any bunker.
We've been talking about rakes today. Did they have the green rake with the black oval sort of top? What'd they do?
Just a standard rake. I didn't actually pay a whole lot of attention to it, but I stayed out of the bunkers, luckily. But we shot 14 under in an Ambrose. We came in, I think, tied for 10th or something on the day. It was an awesome event and a great experience.
Well, it's amazing, mate. Not a day goes past without somebody getting in contact with me on social media or just sending me a WhatsApp message saying that they were going into one of your outlets, the golf clearance outlet I'm talking about. I sent you a picture of Matty Thompson, who commentates the NRL on Channel 9. He was up there in Sydney. He thought he was going to mortgage his house. He loved the Sydney golf clearance outlet so much. So you're killing it, mate. So many people going in there, and I know golf is we're riding the real wave at the moment. If you're looking for anything, make sure you get down to your local golf clearance outlet and tell them that Sam Colosimo sent you and see what happens.
Thanks a lot, guys. It's a great time, and thanks for the support.
Good on you.
As always.
You're
Thanks,
a star.
Sam. Cheers.
See you guys.
There he goes. Sam Colosimo.
Now, speaking of partners on the podcast, we've got a couple of other ones too, which are fantastic. Watch My Numbers. Nick, you were using this last week, right?
Yes. When we played Metropolitan, I thought I'm obviously going to download the app and give it a whirl. Put all my numbers in, and I've just got to go back now and have a look through it.
Great. So,
can you do a masterclass for us about using the app? Because I reckon from what Frank has told me, more and more people are downloading it. So we want your tips.
Isn't there a YouTube video on that?
There's quite a few.
Okay.
The amount of work that's gone into the app behind the scenes is quite enormous. We're talking about bonuses. We actually got to get Frank in at some stage as well. But we want your Watch My Numbers masterclass towards the end, so get that ready.
So download the app, and those YouTube videos are fantastic. And if you want to really become an expert on how to use it, it's great. So download the app and play smarter by using the data. Speaking of partners, Ping, we love them. Time for the Ping Global Results, Nick.
You know, Steve Bann, who listens to this podcast every week, gets goosebumps when he hears the trumpet playing.
So do I.
Do you know that?
So do I.
Come on.
I'm
hang on.
telling you the truth. He gets goosebumps.
You are whacking mayo on that.
I'm not.
It's the best intro to anything.
It's the best intro in sport.
I come from a baseball background, and if I was running on as a relief pitcher to that, I would be throwing absolute bullets. Anyway.
When he goes on, he looks so cool about it too.
Yeah.
You know, he's not hyped at all, and that's what makes it so good. Is that he doesn't care, and everyone else is going crazy.
Well, the other thing is with the New Orleans event, the teams event, they used to have walk-on music.
Yeah.
So you'd walk onto the first tee with whatever.
Mate.
That would
would've
be
been
a
yours.
great
Yeah,
one.
that would've been good.
The old trumpet going. But anyway, this week's Ping Global results. Obviously, we had the LIV event in Adelaide at the Grange, where 41-year-old Californian Brendan Steele, who played with Sam Colosimo in the Pro-Am, that's impressive. Right. Maybe he's his good luck charm. Should take him with him.
Maybe.
He had a one-shot win over Louis Oosthuizen, and 5 players were tied for third, including John Rahm. Shot a final round 64, John.
Phew.
So they played really well at the end there. The Rippers obviously won the team event, defeating the Stingers in a playoff. They dodged a bit of a bullet on the first playoff hole, from what I'm told, where the South Africans both missed makeable birdies. And the Aussies had to get it up and down for par, and they got them on the second hole. In the individual, tied for 9th was Matt Jones, and then tied for 14th, Matt Leishman, Cam Smith and Lucas Herbert. So a very, very solid week for all the Aussies, and obviously took home the team. And I like the way...
Lucas Herbert did all the hard rowing in the last day too.
Did he?
Yeah, Lucas
Okay.
shot a 64. I think he played his way out of it, the singles, but the last day, it was all Lucas Herbert.
Well, it's 4 scores to count that final round. I like that part of the format now rather than still the best 3. So everyone's got to show up.
Yep.
In the LA Championship, Wilshire Country Club, as we mentioned, Hannah Green, 5 under par, 66 to defend, had a 3-shot win over Maya Stark, who it's her second runner-up in a row. She was runner-up at the Chevron Championship to Nelly Corder, who was entered but withdrew. So it let everyone else back into the tournament, basically.
Thank you.
So Nelly will go for 6 in a row at some other stage. But Hannah Green, she was 5 under through 5 holes on that back 9, the chip-in you mentioned earlier, Mark, to go on to win. And she, as I said earlier, became the 5th Aussie with 5 wins on the LPGA Tour. Rough weekend for Grace Kim. Ended up finishing in a tie for 25th. And best of the rest of the Aussies was Sarah Kemp, tied for 39th.
And we've all done what Grace has done.
Oh, for sure.
It's still early days for her. You know what? You learn to be comfortable in that situation.
Yeah.
And that may never happen again for Grace Kim.
Well, she was playing with her idol, basically. I mean, Hannah was someone who she really looked up to. She's won on the LPGA Tour before, Grace, so I'm sure she'll bounce back straight away. On the PGA Tour, TPC New Orleans was the golf course they were at. Rory McIlroy, Shane Lowry, obviously, won in a playoff over Martin Traynor and Chad Ramey, who shot a final round 63 an alternate shot.
Yeah.
How
foursomes.
impressive is that?
Ridiculous.
And they had to wait 3 hours for the playoff.
Yeah.
That's how far back they were going into the final round.
Was it them or was it another group? There were just a couple of mates from Iowa. Neither of them had a top 10 on the PGA Tour before, and they've done this in teams. Incredible.
I don't know. It could have been Zach Blair and his partner, because there's a couple of names up there I hadn't heard of for quite a while. But on the Australasian front, Ryan Fox finished tied for 4th. He partnered South African Gareth Higo.
See, I don't want a South African and a New Zealander teaming up in a teams event. You've got to be from the same country. Surely we can organise that.
You would think. On the DP World Tour, they were playing the ISPS Honda Championship in Japan. Obviously, ISPS Honda, what a huge supporter of all abilities golf they are as well.
Yep.
So great to see them supporting the DP World Tour, where local countryman Yuto Katsuragawa, I got that out, he shot 63, final round for a 3-shot win. Best of the Australasians was New Zealander Daniel Hillier, who finished tied for 11th. The other Aussies, unfortunately, all missed the cut.
What was the guy who won again?
Yuto Katsuragawa.
He's the first ever player to win in a pair of fireman pants.
Fireman pants?
He was wearing fireman
I didn't
pants
see
on
that.
the last day.
Really?
Yeah.
What does fireman pants look like?
When you see them,
Okay.
you'll understand.
I'll have to go and look at the highlights.
Yep.
Oh, that's
They're
impressive.
definitely a pair. I mean, he looks like he's just slid down the pole and ran out in the first
Really?
tee. Yep.
Well, I saw the picture of him with the trophy, and it was a crown that they put on his head, so that actually probably topped the look off, I'd say, because it did look like a kind of a fireman's helmet.
I'll
Anyway,
find it.
Asking for a friend, do they sell those at Gazman, Mark?
No, they don't. sell fireman pants.
Okay,
Gazman are way too cool for that sort of stuff.
There you go. On the Corn Ferry Tour in the US, the secondary tour, they were playing at the Texas Rangers Golf Club in Arlington. And it was insane scoring, Mark.
Yeah.
Tim Whiting shot 31 under, a total of 253 strokes, because it was a par 71.
Are you kidding me?
And it is the lowest relative to par score in history on the Corn Ferry Tour, and they do go low. It was a 7 under cut. Back-to-back wins for the Swede as well for Tim, so he is on an absolute tear at the moment. And there was a 13 under 58 shot in the opening round by Frank Kaplan III, so he didn't actually win. He shot 58 and didn't win the golf tournament, but Tim Whiting, he was on an absolute heater. On the Ladies European Tour, they were playing the South African Open in Cape Town, and Momoka Kabori finished tied for second. So a great result for Kazuma's sister.
Yeah, I've got the pants.
Oh, okay. Show us the pants. Oh, yes. Little white stripe up the side.
You got the white
Is that a green
stripe.
jacket? Oh, it's a green kimono, I think. Now have a look at the helmet.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Oh, so they're like cultural type pants.
No, it's some kind of fashion statement that is
I can tell you.
in poor taste.
I can tell you what kind of fashion statement that is.
Yeah, it's a bad one.
Wow. Okay.
Nick, as you were.
Momoka Kabori finished tied for second at the South African Open on the Ladies European Tour behind Belgian's Manon de Rooij. Great win for the Belgian. On the Champions Tour, they were playing TPC Sugarloaf in Duluth, Georgia. I actually played that golf course many years ago. It's
Greg Norman design.
Fun golf course. Yeah, Stuart Sink lives on course there.
Does he?
I think. He used to anyway. I'm not sure if he still does.
The
But
Shark was proud of that one.
I bet he was.
Yeah.
It was actually a good golf course,
Yeah.
yeah. Canadian Stephen Ames shot 5 under 67 for a 4-shot win over Paul Broadhurst, who won last week, so he almost went back-to-back. Steve Olker tied for 4th. John Sendon, good week for him, tied for 6th. And best of the other Aussies was Richard Green and Mark Hensby tied for 17th.
If you didn't know, by the way, we should mention it. Sendo been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, so for him to be out there playing like that is quite remarkable.
Incredible.
Yeah,
I spoke to him at the Australian Open last year, and he was
How's
he was looking really good. Yeah, very
good.
happy with how things are going, and great to see him out on the golf course.
Good on him.
In Abu Dhabi, they were playing the Challenge Tour event where WA's Conor McKinney finished tied for 25th. Solid week for him. It was won by Denmark's Rasmus Nygaard Petersen, who's a ping player, so well
Another
done to Rasmus.
Righto.
Yeah, not the Højgaard, but this one is Nygaard Petersen. On the Epsom Tour, New Zealand's Fiona Zhu finished second, but she just missed out. She was 9 shots behind the winner, Juliana Hung. So very impressive win there. 9-shot win. That's tough to do.
It's a big win.
Just a little thing for this week. They're playing the Victorian PGA Associate Championships. So the trainee champs is what we used to call it.
Yeah.
But Associate Championships now for Victoria. I was up there actually the other day playing the Pro-Am up in Tookoomul. Tookoomul. Is that how you say it?
Tookoomul.
Okay. Well,
Tookoomul.
I've had different...
Tookoomul.
Toke. Okay.
Yeah.
Toke. Anyway,
Yep.
what a great golf course. I
Yeah,
loved
it's
it.
good.
36 holes, a lot of fun, but all the best to all the associate pros up there, because the guy I played with, Joel, he's from Rosanna. My goodness, does he bomb it? And he said, I'm not that long compared to the other guys. And I said, what? He was 30, 40 in front of me. So this is worrying, Mark, how far these young players are hitting it.
When I tried to qualify for the Australian Open a couple of years ago when I was at Victoria and Kingston Heath, and I played with this kid. His last name was Alan, and he works at the Rosebud Country Club Pro Shop. I could not get over.
Yeah.
It was a joke. And I said, what do you do? He goes, I work in the pro. He's working in the pro shop, and he's in there that far. So, I mean, I understand guys like, Max Charles, and he's just got back from the States, and he's been working out and golfs his life into that far. This Alan kid just works in the pro shop.
Unbelievable.
He's selling Mars bars and jumpers, and he's hitting at the billion miles.
Yeah. Well,
it's unbelievable.
In any case, if you happen to get up that way, go visit Tookoomul, because it's a nice little country club. Loved it.
Yep, Toke's fantastic. Well done.
So we've got plenty of feedback, guys, and as you'd expect, there's been a fair bit on LIV, which we'll get to in a moment.
I reckon the feedback next week might be interesting after our takes on LIV Golf. So stay tuned.
A few
next
whacks.
week. I reckon we might get a couple of whacks next week.
Maybe there will.
That's
And
okay.
if we do, we'll read them out.
Yeah, that's it.
So a message from Matthew Cross. Matthew said, hey guys, love the pod, listen every week. Listening to you talk about how good Scotty Scheffler's been playing. Lately, Marco, you have used the term quite a bit, best ever. Do you think the sample size is a bit small to use the term best ever? I agree, he's in stunning form, but is this a recency bias to compare him to Tiger and Jack? I know the stats don't lie, but are there any stats to compare him to Jack, who I think is the best ever?
Okay. It's a good question. My recollection is I was saying best ever in just his stats at the moment. So, yes, I agree with you. He has to do it for a long period of time. He's only won 2 majors. But I think when I was talking about the stats, they are as good as Tiger Woods, who is the best ever at the moment. And the scoring average is off the charts. When I say that, I think he last year was 7th and the first 6 are all Tiger Woods. So he's doing very, very well when you compare him to the player who I think is the best ever, Tiger Woods. But yes, you're correct. It's a small sample size and time will tell.
Now, speaking of Scheffler, we were talking about how someone who I can't recall who it was said that Scheffler, a listener said Scheffler was boring. Rob's written in and he said, it's not so much that he's boring, it's that the equipment that allows him to play is boring. All he does is hit it straight. They all do. It's like watching a video game.
Yeah. Now, Rob used to caddy on tour and he's a good bloke, one of the best train drivers you'd ever meet. No one drives like him. He's the best train driver by a mile and toots the horn beautifully.
Oh, lovely.
Does a great job.
Okay.
But I disagree. I think he shapes his irons really, really well, Scotty Scheffler. If there's a left-right wind, he's drawing it into the wind. If it's the other way, he's fading it into the wind.
Yeah.
I think he's very, very good shaping his irons. With the driver, probably got some impact with what you said, but as far as a man who is in control of his irons and shapes his irons, I don't think there's ever been many better than Scotty Scheffler.
The other thing he's probably the best at that I've seen is distance control as well.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, John Japici, who's a member down at the National, he sent me a video. It's on Instagram. We might have to find it, Dan, where he was calling out numbers and he'd go 3-wood, 265.
Remarkable.
And he would hit it 265 through the air.
It's unbelievable.
And he'd call out 5-iron, 211 or something like that. And he might miss it by a yard. I mean, it's fascinating. The control
really
he has is incredible.
It's really good.
Alan Torrance wrote in, he watched your masterclass last week on landing closed.
Yes.
He said, working with a Michelle Lowe left hip bump drill that complements this perfectly, Marco. Here's to happy landings.
Good on you. That's good. I actually incorporated a little bit of what you said. So I'm landing closed, but then topping it off with a long hind leg on the way through, Nick Faldo style.
Long hind leg. Okay.
Well, I'm trying to be mindful because I know you are of left-handers and right-handers.
No, just say what it is.
Trail leg. So I land closed and then finish the job with a long trail leg.
And a great drill for that is, I might have mentioned it last week, is fairway bunker shots.
Yeah,
that'll
Nick
get
Faldo,
that.
2-iron out
That'll
of the
get that trail leg staying nice and long.
Yeah.
Dale enjoyed the podcast we had with Hannah Gregg this week, and he said, great listen, guys. All the best for Hannah and Frederick for the future. Hopefully we see her out here again for the Vic and the Aussie Opens.
Yeah. Did you see the tweet that she put out on her expenses for one of the tournaments?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Gives you a real idea of how difficult it can be. She's got to finish 25th every week, basically, to
Break
not
even.
lose money.
Yeah.
And she had some of it covered from sponsors as well.
And she had Greggy, Snake Charmers, helping her out with accommodation and a few other bits and pieces, and she still didn't anyway, make any money. But it's tough on those smaller tours, but we all had to play them at some stage, and if you're any good, you get through, and if you're not, there's another life for you.
So we had a lot of feedback on LIV. We won't read all of it. We'll go through a few quickly because I think it's good to touch on. RB wrote in, said, thanks for bringing world-class golf to the global stage. Adelaide was spectacular.
Yep.
Roger said, absolutely brilliant. I watched from the first event. LIV just gets better and better. You have created something very special for golf fans.
Good on you, Rob.
David said, great fun to be there in person, and the course appeared set up for very good scoring. On the TV, I enjoyed having lots of shots being shown thanks to the shotgun start. The team's aspect does nothing for me personally, but each to their own. Enjoyed it.
I wonder if his mind changed after a week and how the focus really was on the Rippers actually winning. And just on the golf course, it was they've got 1 from one course and 1 from the other course, and it measures right on 7,000 yards. So,
but it was playing so fast as well.
Yeah,
played very short for these guys.
Really quick.
Greens was softish from what I could tell.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
A couple of people not so much of a fan. This is from Moral Victory Jones on Twitter. He said to us, I was very nervous watching. It's a shame to have an odd few ruin it for everyone else. There is some definite bogans amongst the strong crowd numbers there, unfortunately. And we saw that with a couple of the incidents. But they happen everywhere, as you say.
You see it in Phoenix as well.
Oh, yeah.
There's a bogan element everywhere in sports, so we're not going to highlight that.
No.
They're called rednecks over there.
Yeah.
Patrick said the way the course gets treated by some patrons who don't care about the golf but just how much they drink is terrible. I suspect the Grange members may vote against hosting next year. No chance, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
And Dodsey wrote in, if we're not careful, some of the muppets are going to turn golf into Caddyshack too.
Look, it was interesting to see there was nobody on the fringe this year, so the security guards were there and kept them all away from the fringe like we saw last year. So, look, they may do things differently again in Season 3 at LIV Adelaide, but we will see. One thing for sure, that's it for people through the gates. There can't be any more.
No, there's no room.
There can't be any more getting through the gates.
Final bit of feedback, which is on LIV as well. This is from Wayne. Wayne has said, LIV Adelaide is now the number one golf event in Australia. That's his view.
Well,
when you consider
I think at the moment it is.
Yeah, when you consider we don't know where the Australian Open's going to be, it may well be true.
Right now, for sure.
Any update on that, by the way?
Not as yet, no. I've been told that we will know when an announcement is imminent.
Imminent is a stretchy word at the moment,
Yes,
so we're not exactly sure when it's going to be.
We're not sure.
I feel they've been saying that for about 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Well, they're still working away behind the scenes, from what I've been told or heard. And they're just trying to figure out the location and all that.
Yeah, we're talking about the Australian Open, folks, if you haven't cottoned on. I'm just wary. I don't want it to be an Australian Open light.
True.
That I don't want that. Unless, of course, there is a big time Australian Open in our near future, 2025 or 2026. But, 2024, whoever hosts it, that club won't want an Australian Open light. They don't want the men and the women playing for 500,000 and no stars coming over. Mm-hmm. Whoever's hosting it wants an Australian Open.
You have said, I think 2 weeks ago, Mark, that you have heard on very good authority that Rory McIlroy will be playing the Australian Open this year. Do you stand by that?
If it was at Kingston
Heath, yeah.
Yes, so he said if it's at Kingston Heath, I would love to play. Yes.
Okay.
Did I give you full details of that last week?
Yes, you did.
Did
I say who I got it off, though?
No.
Ian Baker Finch. He told Ian Baker Finch.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's how I know.
Well, that's a good source.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about Watch My Numbers. The Watch My Numbers app is brilliant. You can download it from Google Play or the App Store. Download it, use it, and improve your handicap. And Watch My Numbers bring us today's masterclass.
Well, thank you very much. And this week's masterclass, I did see Dean Burmester's pitch shot into the second playoff hole on social media, and I noticed he had to land it short of a ridge and try and chase it up to the flag, and unfortunately he carried it too far. So I want to talk about your distance control with pitching. So it's more of a half wedge. A lot of people, I always say, master the three-quarter wedge. I think that's a great shot to have in your bag, but a pitch shot is more of a half wedge or a half-swing wedge.
How long for most?
So think of it in terms of a clock. Your left arm as a right-handed golfer.
How long's a shot? How long's a pitch? 40 metres, 50 metres, 60 metres?
Well, this is different, you see, because I'm going to talk about three different clubs, same swing.
Ooh.
So for me, for example, I have a 60-degree sand iron, a 54 and a 47. So if I take a half swing, and what I mean by a half swing, if I was a right-handed golfer, my left arm would be at, what would you call it, 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, yes. I'm thinking 3 o'clock because I'm a lefty. Yes, 9 o'clock if you want to do it as a clock face. So imagine your left arm goes to 9 o'clock with your lob wedge. For me, I carry that 50 metres. If I use my 54, I carry it 65 metres, and if I use my pitching wedge, I carry it 78 metres.
All at 9 o'clock with the left arm, if you're a right-hander.
Exactly.
If you're Nico who?
Correct. If you've got 3 wedges or 4, learn your distances for that shot, for that golf swing, and then just change wedges depending on the shot that you've got. So it's got to be a minimum of a half swing. So it's a pitch shot is kind of a half swing if you think about it.
Yeah.
So if you learn those distances, then, like whenever I get on the golf course, if I've got a 55-metre shot, I'm thinking, oh, this is pretty much perfect for my half-swing lob wedge, because I figure it's going to take a bounce and then stop. 50, around about 55 metres or around that. So if it's a 65 to 70-metre shot, I'm thinking, okay, perfect half-swing, 54, and so on. You have to factor in how firm the greens are, how far it's going to bounce, and so on and so forth. But if you learn those three swings, your pitching and your wedge game will dramatically improve, and I will post a video on that on socials a little bit later.
It's very Chook Fowler of you.
Mm-hmm.
He was big on that sort of stuff as well, and he was one of the best.
He was. Well, I kind of played these shots more by feel originally, and then I read Dave Pelz's book about the short game. I didn't agree with the fact that he wanted a full follow-through to the half-swing.
Yeah,
I like to match the follow-through and the backswing, a half-swing follow-through to a half-backswing. And I find that works really, really well for me. But the clock face, well, yeah, exactly. But the clock face image worked really good.
Yeah, no, I trust you.
Okay.
And I know this. Dave Peltz didn't beat Tiger Woods twice in match play.
Well, yeah.
Did he? He didn't do that. Mate.
I kind of made my living off my wedge game, so there you go.
All right, good fun. Be on the lookout for our Tara Edie bonus. I'm not sure when it's going to be, Dan, but it's going to be soon.
I've been next week or two, and I expect you to be wearing the hat when we do it, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I better bring the hat in.
Okay.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Beautiful.
And thanks for listening to Talk Birdie, Simi. We appreciate you listening and getting involved. And a huge thanks to our fantastic partners. Without them, the show just wouldn't be the same. Watch my numbers. Download the app and turn your bogeys into birdies by analysing and improving your game like never before. The Golf Clearance Outlet. Awesome prices on great gear. You can see them in Melbourne, Sydney, Brizzy, Perth, and online at golfclearanceoutlet.com.au. And Ping. See your local golf shop or professional to arrange a Ping Club fitting. They'll help you play your best. If Ping's good enough for Nick O'Hearn, well, that says it all. And we'd love you to get involved with the show. You can leave a voicemail with any comments or questions at talkbirdie2me.com.au, or send an email or comment on the socials. And if you can share the pod with a friend, well, we'd love that. Talk Birdie to Me's executive producer is Dan Bradley at Kaizen Media. Sound design, Daryl Misson at loudzebra.com.